right. Welcome, everybody, to another GPSF Young Professionals Career Journey series. So this is our sixth session. I can't believe we've had that many guests, and they have all been amazing, and tonight is no different. Before I introduce the very special guest that we have tonight, just want to say a few things just to set the groundwork. So Asare, I know this is your first time with us. So this session was created to provide advice to our young professionals. You and I, we started the young professionals section of GPSF. So you know how much we love young professionals, you know how much we love pouring into them. So that's why I was very excited to have you as a guest. But just to let you know who will be coming in tonight and who the audience that you're speaking to, it's going to be young professionals, med students, residents, fellows, even attendings that are young in their career. And then there'll be other individuals that'll pop in, also senior attendings that like to pop in and just see what's going on. But that is the main target audience that we're trying to reach in each and every one of our sessions. So before we get started, I want to congratulate all of the individuals that matched. Yes, they definitely deserve a hand clap. It is not an easy process, but you did it. Congratulations to you. Those who did not match, it does not say anything less about who you are. You are still awesome. It sometimes takes a few tries, and that's why we are here at GPSF. That's why we have a young professional section, so that we can help you meet the goals that you want to meet. So do not despair. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and you will get there. Reach out to one of us. We are always happy to help guide you through the process and help get you to where you want to be. So, without further ado, I'm going to read the bio of our very special guest.
Oh, God. Bios.
It was written by the guest himself, so there's no lies here.
Yes, all right, let's do it.
All right. So our guest tonight is Dr. Asare Christian. Dr. Christian is the founder of Ether Medicine.
Yes.
He's a board-certified physical medicine and rehabilitation physician, specializing in advanced pain management and rehabilitation. Did you hear that? Advanced pain management, not just your regular pain, no, serious pain.
Yes.
He takes an integrative and holistic approach to create personalized treatment plans that combine conventional, regenerative, and complementary medicine. Wow, that's no joke. Dr. Christian has extensive knowledge and skills in musculoskeletal and neurological rehabilitation, neurotoxin medicine, chronic pain management, and regenerative medicine. What don't you do? He is a graduate of the Medical College of Wisconsin, Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine, and Harvard School of Public Health, and has completed coursework in, artificial intelligence in healthcare at the MIT Sloan School of Management. Wow. We are very privileged to have you here tonight, and I'm very excited to talk to you. It's been a very long time since we connected. Asare and I know each other, like I said, from GPSF many, many, many moons ago.
Yes.
The team that started the Young Professionals section, and we are passionate about young professionals. So I'm excited to have you.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me, and thanks for all the work you've done over the years. Because I think, I got into this a little bit and then I ran away, and you've been in there and you've been doing it and keeping us and bringing all of us back. So thanks for all the work you do in really trying to educate and connecting and getting people to know the past. So thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here. Yeah,
absolutely. And I'll say I ran away for a little bit too, but I came back strong and continued the passion that we all started together. So it's all good. We're happy to have you back. And look forward to you coming to the conference. For those that don't know, the GPSF conference, the 20th anniversary. This is a special year.
20th,
the 20th anniversary is coming up next month in Washington, D.C., April 21st and 22nd. If you have not registered, if you have not gotten your hotel, do so ASAP. You do not want to miss this event because it's going to be great. So, with all that said, Dr. Christian, I like to always open up with my guests sharing their journey. How did you get to be where you are today? If you want to start from infancy, start from infancy, but you don't have to go that far back. We just want to hear who you are and how you've gotten here. Your journey, from just what I've read, the little bit I've read, is very impressive. And I think it'll motivate our young professionals to hear how you got to where you are. So take it away.
Thank you so much. So, journey going all the way back. So, my mom is from Begro in the Eastern region. So, that's kind of where I come from. And I grew up in Accra. I went to high school in Cape Coast. I went to a disco. And then from there, I came to the US, went to college in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, met my ex-wife there, had two beautiful children. So, my daughter actually just turned 18, and my son Asare is 12. And so went to medical school in Wisconsin, Medical College of Wisconsin, did PM&R in Baltimore. And then I went to Harvard, did a fellowship there, and then also got an MPH. And then came to the Pennsylvania, and I've worked in a rehab hospital for about 8 years. And then subsequently, about 2 years ago, I decided to take a different path and went and opened my own practice where I'm doing integrative medicine to really get people relief from pain. So that's a bit about a quick overview of my journey up to this point. Yeah.
Very quick overview.
Yes.
So you mentioned you got multiple degrees. You didn't just stop at your MD. You went on and got an MPH. Tell us why. Why did you think that was helpful to get that MPH?
Yeah. So when I was finishing residency, and I've always knew that I want to do something at the broader level, really understanding policy, really understanding how do we actually take care of population. So that was something that even before med school. So after my residency, I actually kind of went back into a fellowship, which was a combined fellowship of the Harvard Medical School. So I was part of the Harvard Medical School, and then part of that, you get an MPH. And the idea was to get a better understanding of population health. How do we prevent disease? How do we make programs? How do you understand really the things that get people, the determinants of health we talk about, and how does that happen, and understanding psychology. So all of that gave me an excellent education and experience, and it's informed what I do now in terms of helping my patients as well.
Awesome. Awesome. I want to hear more about that. How has it informed what you do with your patients? Because I think we all get multiple degrees. I have an MPH as well. I ultimately ended up at the CDC for my work for different reasons. So tell me, in your line of work, how has that MPH helped you? How do you apply what you've learned into your patient care?
Absolutely. And I think, MPH or public health, simply to kind of define it, and it will help answer this question, is, what is a public health issue? Something that affects a lot of people, costs a lot of money, and is preventable. That's kind of like the simplest way I can kind of put it. And through that education, you learn about what affects a lot of people. And in fact, I was not even sure I was going to end up in pain management, which is what I'm doing right now, because I did not want to do pain management at all. When I was finishing residency, 3 of the 4, there were 5 in my class, all of them went in to do pain fellowship. And I said, no, I don't want to deal with pain. I'm going to just go away and get an MPH, right? I went to Harvard, and then I found out the biggest public health problem is pain. So kind of somehow I became aware of, how big and massive pain is. And then also being a pain management clinician, understanding some of the limitations of the current treatment paradigm, not taking into context, specifically chronic pain, the psychosocial component, right? Pain is not just biological and changes in neurotransmitters and all of that. There is societal implication into how people interpret pain, psychological interpretation. So all of that education and background from public health helped me to understand my patients. So what I'm doing now is, in treating pain, we just don't talk about your biology or your physiology. We talk about psychology, your culture, where you grew up, your trauma experience. All of that influence how your nervous system manage or interprets pain. So all of that background, I think, has influenced me to understand some of those things. And then also thinking about, if you're prescribing treatments for patients and not taking into account, are they going to be able to execute, right? You want them to eat healthy food. You want them to do this. You want them to go to the gym. Do they have access to that? So public health kind of give you that global perspective. And I think it makes you more compassionate, because you understand some of the social factors that, have an impact on people's health. Long way to answer the question, but hopefully I think I got there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So it sounds like it helps you treat the entire patient. You're not just treating that knee pain, you're treating the entire patient and everything that comes with being a person, of being that patient that landed you in front of you at your clinic, right? So
absolutely. And that's something that I think, when people are listening to this, all of us go into medicine and we go in with the intention to heal people, to take care of people. And then somehow the system, especially here, kind of breaks us apart into all of this component. But I think what I will try to even just push out right now is, anybody, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, neurosurgeon, anybody out there, whatever you're doing, we should all be asking people about nutrition. What are they putting into their body? Are they sleeping? Are they exercising? Are they managing stress? I mean, if people fundamentally, we can all focus on some of these things, it take care of people. You don't have to just look at the knee and say, let's just look at the x-ray and put a cortisone shot in here.
Right.
What else is going into their life that, is playing a role in keeping them in that pain state? Because we can do these injections, we can do all of these things, but if people are not healthy, we don't get better response. So it's important to kind of bring all of those healthy ideas and prevention into the forefront of pain. Yeah.
Exactly. It's psychosocial. So you got to deal with that social aspect. You got to deal with that psychiatric aspect of it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I was going to ask you, how do you ended up in pain? But you explained that very well. I'm sure it wasn't easy even getting to the point of saying, I'm going to do pain medicine. Kind of like you tried to stay far away from it. It just hit you in your face. You're going to do pain.
It kept showing up. And actually, when I even finished my fellowship, I was like, no, I don't want to do pain, right? And I came in and took this gig here at the rehab hospital. And then all my patients, the MS patients, the Parkinson's, I was doing neuro rehab. So TBI patients, stroke, they all have pain and they have chronic pain. And somehow they were not being managed well. So by default, in trying to get them to become functional, which is what I do in a rehab, as a rehab physician, I have to treat their pain. And so I just became good at treating all of these pains. And somehow I recognized it wasn't done well. And I took it upon to, get into this space. So here we are. You never know. Yep.
Cool. Tell us about your med school journey or college journey. It's not always a straight path, right? Many of us end up going through a lot of different challenges on the way. I sometimes feel like it's helpful for others to hear that I didn't just arrive and say I'm a pain med physician. I've got my own business. It's just a straight path. This was so easy. So share some of the challenges and how you overcame them so that it can help our audience in case they run into any challenges on their path.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great question, because that is so important for everybody to recognize that when you meet people and they are at a different level, they're doing some things that are successful, it takes a lot of time. So wherever you are, it doesn't, when you're there, you don't think it's ever possible, right? But it takes some time. So my journey through medical school, like I said, I came here when I was done with high school in Ghana. So then I have to try to get into university here. And I came and I was living in Wisconsin. So I came from Ghana to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Very cold space. And I think if you're here in the US, you can understand some of these things. But basically a very different environment. And I have to figure out how to integrate into the school system. I was so cold. I have to figure out how to take a bus. I started university. And even that, I had to start with a community college because I couldn't go directly into the university because I don't have the finances to do that. So started with a community college, did a few courses there, then went into college. I had to pay my first year of tuition, and then subsequently, I studied hard and got a scholarship, so that helped. But even that, I still had to kind of do some work on the background, and then from there, after I was done with undergraduate, I knew I needed to go to medical school, but I had to wait because I was so tired of school that I have to take a little break. And then also my wife at the time became pregnant. So some things had to be put on hold a little bit. So I took 2 years off and then went into med school. And I think if you're in med school or you're about to start, it's a very interesting experience, but I think it's worth it. It challenges you in so many ways. Everybody have different strength. And for me at that time, I had a family, I have a baby and a wife. And so I was kind of grounded and I was just exhausted. I didn't even have any time to do anything. Right. So went through it, not the easiest process by any means, but you do make it out. That's all I want to say. But it's been a great, blessing looking back. I think things always works out. And that's kind of how I see it. We're here because things have always worked out to this point. So it will continue to work out if you're starting from somewhere. Yeah.
Awesome. I didn't know that about you. I just learned something about you. I think that's helpful for others to hear. You took a break. It's okay to take a break. Sometimes we feel like we have to do a boom, 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 boom. And some people have the personality where if they do stop, they're not going to start again. But it's important to hear that it's okay to take a break and then restart. You'll still get to the end goal. It's better you do it with the same mind than for you to have gone crazy and not have met the end goal. So that is very, very important.
Yeah, and I wanted to say something quick to that because I think this whole journey of medicine, if you're going into medicine, it's going to be your life's work. So
Yeah,
I think like you don't want to rush to get it done. Okay. You're going to be doing this the rest of your life. You're always going to be learning. So if you're in there, it's taking a little bit longer. If you have to pause to kind of restart, all of those, I think, great experiences, because you're going to have plenty of time to do medicine. Yeah.
absolutely. Speak to some of our med students that didn't match. And I want to hear you encourage them again.
Yes.
Break.
So first of all, one, congratulations for getting to fourth year, getting to the end of medical school. That's a big accomplishment by itself. Okay, so that's big congratulations. And then for those who have not matched at this point, again, life is not this straight trajectory things. Okay, and it doesn't mean that you're not smart enough or you're not good enough. It's just life. Do those things. I actually had an experience where I did not match, so I went into physical medicine and rehabilitation, but because I'm doing rehab, I have to match into internal medicine. So, and somehow I was just stupid. I did not really apply to internal medicine schools. And then I did not match into an internal medicine school, but I already matched into the Hopkins program. Mm-hmm. So there was this battle to try to, it was very scary that I have to scramble to try to find a place that can get me in. Hopkins were trying to do that. Eventually, there's a program in Milwaukee that created a spot for me. Okay, wow. So it's not very straightforward as we want it to be. But kind of going off my story and really focusing on you is that there's time for everything. If this does not work out and it's your life mission to do medicine, you try it again. And sometimes things direct us in a way that unexpected, right? Because I had no idea that I was going to go into physical medicine. I had some mishap in medical school. I couldn't get some rotation from the medicine team. And somehow I went into physiatry from that experience. Wow. And I'm so glad. So I think it's better to have appreciation and positive. You can always see some positive things in whatever the situation is. But because you're going to medicine and you're going to be dedicating yourself and serving people and serving humanity, you're going to be doing amazing work. No worries. It's going to come. Just keep pushing. Yeah.
That's encouraging. That is extremely encouraging. I think it sounds like God directed you right exactly where you needed to go.
That's where I needed to be. Yeah. I was so upset that they wouldn't give me a medicine rotation. And I said, I need to have this medicine rotation so I can get my letters and all of that. And I am so glad and so grateful that I don't have to, that I didn't go into medicine. Not that I don't love medicine, but I love what I do now. So super happy about that. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you've shared your challenges. Let's talk about your successes. You have just opened up your own business. Wow. Not a lot of physicians do that. People, they don't want the wahala that's associated with that. They don't want to work for somebody, but they also don't want to go to the extreme of having to figure it out on their own. So tell us about that journey. How did you make that decision to go into practice on your own? And tell us about how you, what you had to put into place and do to really start off your business.
Yeah, so that's a long narrative, but I'll try to make it simple. So from a personal standpoint, like I said, I was working at a rehab hospital and I started doing pain management. And one of the things I recognized after seeing these patients over and over, and I can do my injections and I can do medications, I can send them to physical therapy over and over, they keep coming back. And then eventually it just dawned on me that people don't even understand what pain is. A lot of patients, people that have pain, when I ask them tell me about why you have pain, they will say, oh, it's my L5 herniation, it's my osteoarthritis. So they will refer to some imaging finding that a doctor or somebody has pointed out to them as the cause of the pain. But they had no idea that what they're eating plays a part in their pain experience. If they're not sleeping, that's going to implicate their pain. If they're not exercising, it's going to implicate their pain. They have cortisol floating around because they're stressed. They're creating all this inflammatory chemistry that will perpetuate their pain cycle. And then also getting people to understand that pain is not as simple as a signal, right? We have a sensory component of pain and an emotional component. And we never talk about the emotional component in medical practice. Or when I'm blocking, I'm doing lidocaine or whatever, blocking sodium channels, I am not affecting any of the emotional, all your stress or whatever is going on in your life is still going to be there. Okay. And we know that when you don't address the emotional side of pain doesn't actually get better. So it became this thing of, gosh, I got to educate people about pain. It's not just your pain is out of whack because your x-ray shows that. It's just because maybe you ate something that your body doesn't like and you have more inflammation. And trying to connect people, if you don't sleep well, if you don't sleep, you don't heal. And then you have all these inflammatory cascades that are still there and can perpetuate pain. So from there, I decided, it's time for me to kind of step out, because I also saw the limitations of what I can offer patients, which was I can do some, injections, I can do some medication, I can send it to physical therapy. I can do the things that insurance will pay for, right? Yeah. So it was hard. I wanted people to go to see nutritionists, and the insurance doesn't pay for that unless you have a specific diagnosis. I want a patient to go see psychologists, because if they have all this trauma-induced things that are pushing the pain state, if that does not get addressed psychologically, it doesn't matter how many medication or injections or even surgery. And that's what happens. People are getting surgeries and they'll come to me and they go, I've done surgery and I'm still in pain. Why? Because there is unforgiveness, there is stress, there is trauma, there's all of these things that are not being addressed. And if you don't address that, pain doesn't get better. So from there, I decided, I want to do something different where I will focus on pain education. And the idea is, let's get people healthy, because all the people that were coming to me, they all did all those interventions. They went to acupuncture, they went to physical therapy, they had surgery, they have injections, they've done all of that, and they were still in pain. And what was not changed was their habits. They were still doing the same stuff, right? So with this practice, the idea became, let's start educating people about how the habits connect to the pain, how your sleep connects to your pain, how what you're eating connects to your pain, how your lack of movement. And there's so much science we have for these things that are so fundamental that, if you don't sleep, you feel crappy. Imagine if you have pain and you didn't sleep. Yes, your pain is going to go up. So all of that kind of gave the inception to try to create something that focus on health as an end goal to pain management. So when people come to me about pain, I don't even ask about their pain level. I kind of just like, okay, what does your pain prevent you from doing? And then I ask about sleep. What's going on in your life? Is anything new? And a lot of times have all these stresses that we know actually can trigger pain and trigger all this autoimmune and other disease states. So this practice became, let's educate people, let's get people healthy. And when people are healthy, pain gets better. It has not been an easy journey, meaning you have to learn some business, you have to learn how to talk in front of people, you have to learn how to market, you have to learn how to sell yourself, all of these things that you don't learn in medical school. And it's also very interesting. Like recently, I've had this realization where I recognize that in medical school or in medical training, so even if you're here, wherever you are, when we're talking about this idea of you can't fail anything in medicine. You have to pass the next test to go to the next level, and you have to pass this, so we are programmed in this tunnel way that everything has to go stepwise, right? And in fact, maybe some of you here who you do not match, that's kind of how we are, because from undergraduate and medical school, we are in this space where we are always passing, we are always high achievers. But when it comes to business, you can't take the same principle. You have to take risk. And we are so focused on we don't want to make any mistakes, so we stay within its boundaries. But when it comes to business, you have to be willing to look outside and be a little scared and go outside of the existing paradigm. So that has been a little tough for me, trying to work on some of those habit changes and some of those psychologies. But overall, it's been a great experience. I'm able to offer my patient more than I did. I'm learning new information, things that I learned in medical school, right? So we learn all this pathway. If you're in medical school, you're learning cell biology and biochemistry and all of these things. And then when you finish, you just kind of forget about those things and you just prescribe medicines. But then it turns out, oh my gosh, the TCA cycle is super important. Trying to make energy, mitochondria is involved in all of these disease states. And if we can try to bring some of that knowledge back and try to figure out how do we change these cellular pathways with signaling, food, exercise, sleep, all of those things are signaling. So it's really exciting to kind of see how I have come all the way around and now really trying to understand cellular biology in a deeper way to really influence my patient's care. So that's the journey. The second part of that is I also wanted to kind of challenge myself and grow a little bit. So this is also a growth experiment for me. And then the third aspect is also wanting to do something about the persona of who a physician is and who a patient is, especially in the space of pain management, where the persona of the patient is somebody who's just frail and they are disturbed and they are depressed and they are anxious, all of these things, right? We need to change that. And then the persona of the doctor who is treating a person with pain. The only tools we have is just injections and medications. And we know that's not all of it. and even being in a place where we can demonstrate health, being a good example for the patient. That is something that I think is also needed. So part of this is also try to kind of get into this space and challenge myself to become better and inspire other doctors to become healthy as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Gave me a little PTSD talking about biochemistry and all that.
Yes.
That sounds like an amazing journey, and just the way you're thinking about your patients, the way you're thinking about your practice, like that's amazing. That's amazing. I think that's important for all physicians to consider the whole patient. This is a holistic approach. Every aspect of an individual's life affects their health. So I love what you're doing. I'm excited. I'll have to come visit next time I'm in the area.
Yes, yes.
Tell us, where's your practice located and how can individuals find out more information?
Yeah, so my practice is located in Wayne, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb of Philadelphia. And it's very close to Philly. And we have online presence. We have our website. And then, is that the question, or what was the question?
Yeah. What's your website? So people
yes. So
out.
Our website is ethermedicine.com, and I'll spell ether. Ether is AETHER medicine.com.
Awesome.
Medicine.com. Yeah.
Feel free to put it in the chat. I think
yes,
I'm having chat challenges today, so I might need you to do that. Those attendees, please feel free to put your questions in the Q&A box and I will answer them. It does not just have to be me asking all the questions. So feel free, if you have specific questions for our guests, please put them in the Q&A box and I'll be happy to answer them. Ask them and allow him to answer them. Very cool. I think one of the important things about physicians and what I want some of our young professionals to realize is we are people outside of medicine, right?
Yes.
I see there's a guitar in the back there. Is that a guitar I'm seeing?
I have the bass, so I used to play the bass guitar.
Nice.
And actually, I played in a reggae band before I went to medical school.
What? I'm learning so much about you. A reggae band, not an African band.
I had the hair and everything.
Band.
Yes, the Rasta band.
Really? How did you get involved with that?
So I had the dreadlocks and everything. Yeah. So.
Wow. Very interesting. You gonna play something for us?
Oh, remember no, not tonight.
No, not tonight. All right. Next time we're gonna invite you back just so you can play for us.
That's right.
No, but let's get back to medicine. Like I said, if any of you all have questions that you specifically want to ask, please do. While we're waiting for questions, speak to us about the importance of having outlets like playing the guitar and things outside of work.
Absolutely. So this is one thing that I am very passionate about. And I think I talked a little bit about the idea of physician health, right? We are the healers. And we have to heal ourselves, right? We have this thing, first, what does it say? First harm no one. What is it?
First do no harm.
First do no harm. And I say first heal thyself. Okay. And I think we don't have this in medicine, even though we get so trained in trying to heal people and focus on people. We don't know how to heal ourselves. We don't know how to listen to our emotions. We don't feel. We just go through this process. And in fact, part of my whole evolution to come into this place of opening my own practice is like I got so fed up with my system. I got so upset. It's so intense, and you get into a situation that if you're not taking care of yourself, if you don't have self-awareness. I used to go to work and I'll be upset because I don't get approval for my medicines to do my injections. The patients are late. I'm getting new patients add on. All of these things were creating all of this stress. So it became such an important thing for me to recognize that if I can show up, if I can be my better self to be able to be there for my staff, for my patients, for my peers, I need to take care of myself. Absolutely. So that became a journey. And that's something that I think every person here, if you're a young person going into medicine, this is something you want to make a priority to really get to know yourself, have some ways of taking care of yourself and being able to in tune yourself, because the work we're doing is not just medicine. I think at some level, I really am interested in getting physicians to become the real healers. We understand what goes on in the body, and we have this experience and this privilege and this opportunity to really touch people in so many ways, because when people come to us, is this state of vulnerability where they're so suggestive. That's why a lot of times patients go to a doctor, and whatever the doctor tells them, they believe that. And even if that's not the true case, that becomes their history. And I see that quite a bit with patients. Pain will never go away. There's nothing we can do for you. And then people have that in their head. All right. So we have this power in how we interact. And even we have data showing like placebo effect based on how the doctor dressed, based on the experience. So there's all of these things that are behind the scenes that we can bring from a spiritual standpoint, from self-awareness standpoint, that can actually implicate how we take care of patients. But it has to start with that. So you have to have an outlet, have a music, have a place to unplug and do all of those things. And like you said, remember that, we are all human beings, and that is more important than, you're not just a doctor, you're a father, you're a friend, you're a son, you're all of those things. Yeah. So it's important to recognize that.
Absolutely. I always say you can't take care of anybody else if you don't take care of yourself. So very, very important point.
Yeah.
I don't see any questions in the chat just yet. Let me know if you do, because it seems there may be something going on my end.
Yeah.
If you click on the Q&A, let me know if you see
it. Actually, there is questions there. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured
so I can read them.
So go for
it. If you could do one thing different about your medical career, what would that be? Oh my God, that's a great question. If I could do one thing different about my medical career, what would that be?
That's a great question.
That is a great question. Oh my gosh. That's a hard question for me, because I'm a forward person. I always think ahead. I don't really kind of look back as much. So I don't see anything that I would have changed right now. And that's the thing that's hard. Let's see. I'm thinking.
Take your time.
Yeah. So I don't see anything that comes to mind right away. Of course, I've had setbacks and I've had mistakes and I've made a lot of things like that, but I can't think of something that I would have changed, because even all of those things kind of add up to where I am. Those experiences influence who I've become, how I see the world. So I see all of them as blessings. Obviously, I didn't have any traumatic experiences that, I can compare that to other people's experience, but yeah, so nothing really sticks out for me.
That's fine.
I've enjoyed all of it.
The setbacks and the successes, right?
Yes.
I love that, because it just speaks to that journey, that it like that appreciation of where you are. Those things that happen is what allowed you to be where you are. If you wouldn't have taken those 2 years off, maybe you would have never had your business. If you wouldn't have missed that medicine rotation that you really wanted, you wouldn't have gone into pain. So appreciate every single aspect of the journey, the things that seem like negative things or setbacks, and the successes. I love that answer. That's great.
They all add up. They all add up. I think that cannot be overstated, how it's important to enjoy the journey. Yeah. Because I think even when you're starting from as a medical student or a resident, wherever you are, it's so hard. And every day is just like so many things going on, and you can get discouraged or don't even want to enjoy, but just enjoy that experience, the patients that you're connecting with, the people that you get to meet, all the privilege that it is to be able to kind of be part of this people's life. So be in it and enjoy it. That's what I would say. Okay. There's another question here about how do you find balance? That's such an important question. And I think it's something that you have to actively make the plan to create. Okay. So balance doesn't come to you. The world is moving towards disorder, entropy, right? Everything goes towards disorder. So for you to be able to have balance, you have to put energy into the system. So you have to have some intentions of what you want to do for yourself, and then put some actionable things in place. So for me, how do I find balance? I have specific rituals. I don't stick with them consistently, but I do. I get up at a certain time. When I get up, first thing I do is just gratefulness, saying prayer and saying thanks to be alive this morning. I do the specific days where I work out. So I go to the gym. I enjoy that. That's like getting my exercise to be able to show up and have, energy and all of those things. I come back, I do my meditation, I do some push-ups, And then do occasionally intermittent fasting, eat some healthy food, cook for myself, do smoothies, take some supplements. So all of those things kind of like self-care that I do before I even get outside of the house to give. And that create balance. And then, with business and time and everything else, again, it's so hard to maintain that balance. So then everything kind of falls apart again. Your house start always making a mess, right? Why doesn't get cleaner, right? So again, you always have to kind of stay on top of this thing and come back to, I need to take care of myself first so I can show up for others. And I think that's something that I hope that everyone here will do for themselves. So that's how I find balance. And also knowing that the journey is not just that and just that. There is this, there is that, there's, so even in the absence of balance, there is balance in the system. So
it all even
recognize that too. Yeah, because you recognize that, everything's still working out. The sun still came out, the rain is still there, the oxygen is still flowing. So that's still balance in the system. So that's how I do it from my perspective.
Gratefulness. That's one thing I'm taking away from what you just said. Gratefulness, just being gratitude, just being
Gratitude is big.
for
Yes.
the things that you have in your life, just for being alive. I cannot tell you the number of people that I know that are close to me that have passed away, or have had somebody pass away. Gratefulness for just being alive is a big thing. Appreciating the scenery, the home that you live in. Gratitude is huge, and I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yes, and I'll even say, try to create some rituals for yourself that you kind of find yourself. I have to drive 50 minutes every day. And when I started, I used to just be upset about, oh my gosh, I got to do this right. But now I've just become just grateful. I look around and how beautiful the skies look every day. There's always something different. It's just amazing. And the things that goes on in the sky, and we don't even look up. So, if you don't do that and you drive, look around in the sky and see all these amazing things and blessings that are out there. So find some ways to kind of have a way that you decompress and can also appreciate what's going on around you.
Yeah. Right, being present. That's good. Is there another question in there?
And those are the main questions I have here.
Okay. If you all have other questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A and we will answer them. I've enjoyed this conversation. It's just such a wealth of knowledge. One of the things I love to ask my guests, are there any books, podcasts, or anything that you could recommend for our young professionals as they journey along?
Yes. So I not a book. I mean, I've read a lot of books that have influenced what I'm doing in medicine, but I think where it's even needed, something that you should work on is yourself. Finding some personal development path. Okay. So there is this platform called Mind Valley. It's called Mind Valley. I will type it in here. mindvalley.com. And I don't have anything to do with them. It's a platform that has tons of information on personal development, business, entrepreneurship, spirituality, relationship, everything that you can think of. There is some ways to do those things. And I think those knowledge are so needed because lack of knowledge, the people perish, right? Absolutely. So I think finding some ways for us to understand that there are solutions because you may have a problem where you think, oh my gosh, how am I going to solve this problem? But there's people who've already solved this problem and they have a systematic way to solving that problem. And especially if you're going to be a physician, it's always good to have different ways to look at solving problems. Because you're going to have your patients and you're going to have your degrees and you're going to have all of those things and you're going to have the evidence, and then people are going to come in front of you and none of the evidence or anything fits. So being able to have a holistic way or different lenses to see information, so you're not just looking through the scientific method. I know you're a CDC, so you're pretty scientific method, right? But there's different lenses to looking at how you can solve problems, and that becomes something that everybody should develop for themselves, to have this inner awareness and knowledge and have sovereignty because you being a doctor, people come to you and they give away their agency to you. Yeah. And you have to be able to be in a place where you take that and guide people with heart and good directions and good intuition. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. No, that's important. I think just as you said, having a system for how you solve problems. So it's not necessarily just, oh, I have this list of diagnoses and let's see which one the patient fits in. Because like you may get a patient that does not fit in any of those boxes. But if you have a system in place of how to view the problem, how to view the patient that's in front of you, and resources to go through,
yes,
help you figure it out, that's more important, having that system. I like that.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Any other questions pop up yet?
Nope.
Okay, cool. So speak to me about the role of mentors in your life and getting you to where you are today.
Yeah, so I have had a great mentor from medical school. And this person I met because when I went into physical medicine and rehab, I went into that because I was interested in doing work in Ghana to help with rehab medicine, because I found out we didn't have rehab medicine. So even since graduating from my residency, we've actually started a fellowship in Ghana where we're training rehab doctors. So to take care. So I think we're going through the third group now. I was part of the first year, the second year, then that's when I started my business. So I've been off. But part of that mission, it was to go to Ghana and do some of this work there. Gosh, I forgot the question that you asked me.
About mentors, how the role mentors
yes.
played in your life.
So yes, Dr. Haig was my mentor that I met. He's a physical medicine rehab doctor in Michigan. And I met him when I was doing my interviews to get into residency. I talked to, because I was talking about my Ghana interest and all of that. And I met this doctor and she go, hey, I know this guy who's actually in Michigan and he's interested in international rehab. So I connected with him, I emailed him, and was just being such an exceptional mentor. We coordinated, talk about, even before I met him, it took 2 years before I met him in person, but we coordinated and I went to Ghana and did research at a Comfort Hospital. He guided me through that whole process and has been just a great friend in where I am now in terms of rehabilitation medicine. He's also helped me with some publications, so I've done some publication with him as well. So he has been such an important person in my life in this whole rehab space. And then I've also met different people who inspired me differently. Some people that I met in my hospital. There was this guy there. His name is Frank, and he's an executive, and he was just such an amazing person, how he shows up for the patients every day. He shows up every day at 5:30, goes through the patient room, say hi to everybody. This guy was dedicated. So all of those have been great examples of mentorship that has helped to get me to where I am now.
Your practice opens at 5:30, I take it?
I'm not there yet. It takes a while. It's evolution. So
no, my point in asking that question is like the things that we take from our mentors, it's not like you have to be 100% them, do everything that they do, but there are things, there are characteristics, there are principles that we take from our mentors that really help us move on in our own career. So very, very important.
Absolutely. The commitment I saw in these people, their passion, their dedication, I'm still kind of like, oh my gosh, I want to get there, right? And then once you have that exposure, it's always there. You always want to strive to do that. So
right, you see what's possible through the eyes of having mentors. So
absolutely,
very cool, very, very cool. Any other questions? Nothing's popped up yet.
Nothing here yet. Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, I have enjoyed this time with you. I've learned so much about you. I think, GPSF, we work together, you get to know each other small, but these interviews, I have absolutely enjoyed them. Some of my prior guests, Dr. Narco, so I learned a lot about him. Paco Fee, he was also one of my prior guests. He was also one of the individuals that helped us start the Young Professional section. So he's an author, apparently. I had no idea.
Yeah, he's amazing. He does such amazing work on his podcast. And so I follow him, and always has a lot of knowledge.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah. So it's been a pleasure. If you want to just share last words of wisdom before we say goodnight, I would greatly appreciate it. I've absolutely enjoyed learning so much about you and all the knowledge you've shared with our young professionals thus far, but I'll leave the last words to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thanks you for what you do and how much you've been committing to these things. We know it's not easy. So thank you for the work you do. For everybody here, I also want to thank you for making time and making space to listen to what we're talking about here. And what I would say is, wherever you are in your journey, if you decided you're going into medicine, I think it's a great feeling. And in fact, I see it as a calling. And to be able to start from now, wherever you are, to step into it and just accept it that, yeah, I'm going to be a healer. I'm going to be taking care of people. And I'm going to start that process by taking care of myself. We have to work on ourselves. And I've had this quote that talks about, if you want to become, if you want to have a good business, go to business school. But if you want to create an exceptional business, work on yourself. And I kind of think it's the same thing for medicine, that if you want to be an exceptional physician, work on yourself. And I think that is so powerful. And knowing that it always works out. So wherever you are, don't be discouraged. Keep pushing. And we're all here to support you with that. All right. Take care.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm going to put a last plug in for the GPSF conference.
And I'm presenting. Yay.
Yes. So he will be there. If you want to meet him in person, please
Absolutely.
come to the GPSF conference, April 21st to 22nd in Washington, D.C. If you're on the platforms, you see the weekly reminders to sign up and register. So please reach out to me or any one of the executives if you have any concerns or any issues trying to register. But I'm excited that you're coming. Looking forward to seeing you. And we'll have our next career journey series after the conference. So next month, we're taking a month off just to enjoy the conference, and then we'll be back after that. Thank you again. It's an extreme pleasure, and all the best with the business.
Thank you, friend. Take care, everyone.
All right. Good night.